dinner rush at the Silver Maple Diner in Columbus, Ohio always arrived like a storm, loud, fast, and unforgiving. Emily Carter moved between booths with practiced precision, balancing plates on one arm while mentally calculating rent, groceries, and her son's school expenses. At 32, she was a single mother to 7-year-old Noah, and every shift mattered. Tips weren't extra money. They were the thin line between catching up and falling behind. That evening, the bell above the door chimed, and a man stepped inside who didn't fit the usual crowd. He wore a charcoal suit tailored to perfection, his posture calm, his presence quiet but commanding. No bodyguards, no phone pressed to his ear. He chose a booth by the window and sat alone. Emily recognized him instantly. Jonathan Hale, the tech billionaire whose face appeared in business magazines and late-night news segments. She felt a flicker of nerves but pushed it aside. In her diner, everyone was just another customer. She greeted him warmly, took his order, and kept his coffee filled. Jonathan spoke little, but his eyes followed the rhythm of the diner. He noticed how Emily apologized when the kitchen ran slow, how she smiled at rude customers anyway, how she checked her phone once during a break and quickly wiped her eyes before returning to work. He ate quietly, efficiently, like a man used to making decisions without wasted motion. Emily did her job the way she always did, professional, respectful, and visible. Wealthy customers were unpredictable. Some tipped generously, others didn't tip at all. She'd learned not to expect kindness just because someone could afford it. When Jonathan finished his meal, he placed his napkin carefully on the plate, stood and gave her a brief nod. No smile, no complaint. Then he walked out into the cold Ohio night. Emily picked up the check at the register, already bracing herself. Her shoulders sagged when she saw it. Tip 0.0. The familiar mix of disappointment and humiliation settled in her chest. She swallowed hard, reminding herself she'd survived worse. Billionaires didn't owe her anything. Still, it hurt. She slid the receipt under the plate and lifted the dishes to carry them back to the kitchen. As she moved, something shifted beneath the plate, thicker than paper, heavier than a napkin. Emily stopped mid-step, frowning. She turned back to the booth and gently lifted the plate. What she saw beneath it made her breath catch and her hands begin to tremble.
Beneath the plate lay a thick, cream-colored envelope, placed so precisely it felt deliberate. Emily stared at it for several seconds before picking it up, half expecting someone to tell her it didn't belong to her. Her name was written on the front in neat, confident handwriting. Emily, seeing it there, made her heart pound harder than the 0 tip ever had. She slid into the booth, suddenly unsteady. Inside the envelope was a folded note and a cashier's check. Her fingers trembled as she unfolded the paper, reading the short message twice before the words truly sank in. A tip disappears by morning. An opportunity lasts a lifetime. You reminded me of my mother. J.H. Emily's breath caught as her eyes dropped to the check. The number seemed unreal, as if her mind refused to process it properly. $250,000. She pressed her hand over her mouth, a soft sound escaping her before she could stop it. The diner noise faded, replaced by the roaring of her own heartbeat. This wasn't a mistake. The name was printed clearly. The amount was undeniable. For a long moment, she just sat there, staring, afraid that if she moved too quickly the moment would vanish. Memories flooded her mind. Late rent notices, Noah's worn-out shoes, the nursing school brochure she'd hidden in a drawer because dreaming felt irresponsible. Tears blurred her vision, sliding down her cheeks without permission. After closing, Emily stepped outside into the quiet parking lot and checked her phone. One missed call, one voicemail. The number was unfamiliar, but the voice was unmistakably calm and controlled. "Ms. Carter," the message said. "This is Jonathan Hale. I won't take much of your time. If you're interested, I'd like to help you finish your nursing degree. No strings, no publicity, just something I believe in. You can call me back if you choose." Emily sat in her car long after the message ended, gripping the steering wheel as she cried, not from stress or exhaustion, but from a kind of relief she had never known. For the first time since becoming a mother, the future didn't feel like a wall she was slowly running into. Months later, she reduced her shifts and enrolled in school. Years passed, and Emily became a registered nurse, steady and confident, able to give her son the life she once thought impossible. She never saw Jonathan Hale again, but she thought of him often. Sometimes, During quiet nights at the hospital, she remembered the empty tip line on that receipt and smiled. Because what had been left behind, for her that night, was far greater than money. It was a chance to finally breathe and believe again.